What's up guys, it's Brad from JBHMEDIA here. Today we're going to be going over a breakdown on how I did the sound effects for this shot in one of my short films, Sector 9. One of the most overlooked aspects of filmmaking when people start out is sound design. And I think it's a huge mistake. I think if you look at a film before and after sound, there's a huge difference that it makes. We kind of rushed through this film. We shot it in about an hour. I didn't get the greatest shots and we didn't have really time for a lot of multiple takes or anything. We just kind of rushed through it, and hey, we got it done. But if you take your time in sound design in that post-production process, you can really push mediocre footage to a new level. So anyway, here's sound design for this particular clip right here. So yeah, there it is, folks. And I guess we'll go into Premiere and I'll show you how we did this. All right, so I've muted all the sound layers, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go layer by layer and show you all the sound effects that I added. The first sound effect that I added in post was this power down sound effect. I got most of these from freesound.org. So this sound effect is from Duck Duck Pony, interesting username. But yeah, it's a power down sound effect. So here's what it sounds like. As you can tell, not very interesting by itself, but sometimes you want ambient sounds like that one in the background to kind of blend the kind of more primary sound effects together. The next sound effect we have here is this jet engine, and what I did for a lot of these is I used the pen tool to regulate fading in and fading out of the sound design. So as you can see here, have it at 0 volume, then I increase it to negative 8.51, and then I slowly fade it out here as the ship goes out of the scene, because this is just a constant jet engine sound. It's kind of, I think it's looping, so it wouldn't sound very good if we just added it in. All of a sudden you got to kind of fade them in and fade them out. So here's what it sounds like with this jet engine sound effect only. The sound effect's a little bit more realistic. You want to have varied sound effects. You don't want to have a bunch of the same sound effect. You want to kind of think of the sounds that would be involved in my case, a kind of a spaceship type jet flying over them. All right, so the next sound effect we have here is it's called Spaceship Passing, but I think it sounds very digital, but I decided to add it in anyway. It sounds like this. Definitely something that you wouldn't expect hearing in real life. It's very digital. And then the next one is just another one of those blending sounds that I added. It's called Atmospheric Spaceship. You can tell it's a looped sound, but when we have all the other sounds blended in with it, you can't really tell that there's a loop going on there. All right, the next one is another kind of ambient sound. I kind of overdo it on sound design sometimes because I don't know if I can find the right sound, so I just add a bunch to the timeline and find which ones work, and sometimes I end up adding a little more than what are needed. But anyway, I hope you get the concept here. Anyway, this one's called Drone Engine. If it'll play. So kind of a low fan type sound. Next one here is actually called Noisy Hotel Bathroom Fan. And what I've done to some of these is I've sped them up a little bit. If you press X in Premiere, you can use your mouse here to speed up or slow down your sound effects or footage. What that does is not only does it speed up or slow down your footage, it also changes the pitch. So I wanted kind of a higher pitch noise, so I sped it up by 12%. And it got this sound effect. Again, not something you would typically think that you would use for a spaceship flying over people in a war zone, but it's kind of those little details that make it sound a little bit more realistic. So here now we're getting into the sound effects for the gunshots and the debris, or when the bullet rounds hit the ground around them. I have a small debris scattering. This is actually an Action Essentials sound. It's just some dirt scattering type sound effect. Here it is. I use this small debris scattering to kind of blend in some bullet hits, and you want different sound effects and debris scattering to blend your bullet hits together. And so after that, I have a bunch of ricochet sound effects. So yeah, what I'll typically do for our bullet hit here, or for a bullet hit, is I'll take a flyby and a ricochet sound, and about halfway through our flyby sound, where our waveform is the highest, I'll add our ricochet sound in, and that's when the bullet will hit. As you can see right here on the screen, that's where the visual effects for the bullets are. I'll go ahead and play this through. So yeah, that's a typical bullet hit, and I did that pretty much the same process for all these bullet hits. Something you want to watch out for is using the same exact sound for each bullet hit that occurs. You want to vary them up. For example, I have a sound effect called Ricochet 1, Ricochet 4, Ricochet 3, Flyby 1, 2, 3, and they're all different flyby sound effects. And even though they're similar, that slight difference is enough to make the audience realize that you didn't just take one sound effect and loop it. The people watching can pick up on little idiosyncrasies if it's not blended properly. So I usually, if I have more than one type of flyby or ricochet hit, I'll vary it up so I'm not using the same one over and over and over again. So yeah, let's see, here's with all the ricochet sound effects. The last thing I have here is this TMP5 sound effect. That's actually a silence pistol sound. It sounds like this. Pretty basic. I sped it up by 16% to get a slightly higher pitch sound, like it's kind of a laser gun, because this was a sci-fi short. I decided to kind of experiment with that a little bit. Right here, I have a impact sound effect. This is a soldier falling on the ground. As you can see, our friend here is falling on the ground, and you're probably not even going to notice it, but I added it anyway. So here's what it sounds like. So that probably wasn't really necessary to have that, but I had it in there and it didn't sound horrible, so I kept it anyway. This next layer is very interesting. I have a paper debris scattering sound effect by Themfish, free sound user, and it sounds like this. It kind of sounds like leaves and just adds to the chaos of the scene. Another one of those that probably could have been left out, but I thought that it helped blend everything else together, so kept it in anyway. Finally, this last layer here is just a bunch of pistol silencer sound effects for our laser gun here. I don't know if you noticed, but it shoots really fast at the end here, so I just looped a bunch of them, just like that. So yeah, I literally went through all the layers here. Again, you don't have to have this many layers. I kind of overdo it sometimes on sound design, as you can tell. Just kind of experiment with it. You know, one sound, if a sound is meant for one thing, doesn't mean it can't be used for something else. So here's the scene in its entirety here. That obviously included our score by V. Ben Cortez, soon to be the next Hans Zimmer. And yeah, that just about covers it. Be sure to like this video if you thought it was helpful. As always, feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions or suggestions, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. The JBH Media Facebook page is in the description below if you want to like it there to get the latest updates. Feel free to do so. And yeah, that pretty much covers it. Yeah, leave me a comment if you have any recommendations or want to see anything in particular. I can do another video on sound design or visual effects tips. And as usual, I'll try to get out some more short films as well. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time.